sat on the bench before. I was in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. Put me in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. And I'ma lead them boys.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm William Carwell, and this is Nick Carwell. Welcome back to our college football top 25 sports broadcast show, better known as 4th and Inches. This will be the last regular season game of the college football season. It's hard to believe that the season has went by so fast, but as we celebrate Thanksgiving, what a better way to do it than with rivalry week, as most teams conclude their season with a lot of rivalry games and the tie-ins to the conference championships, and as other teams prepare for that, and some will try to advance to the college football playoff, and other games will have bowl implications. Nick, we'll look back on last week's scores, the top 25s, and last week was really cupcake schedule, as everybody chowed down on cupcakes pretty much. Well, there was very few surprises. There was a couple of big matchups, and we'll talk about those right off the bat. Which games did that really had a lot to say about
the only game that was really interesting to me was the Notre Dame-Syracuse game, because Syracuse had been playing very well. You know, they almost upset Clemson earlier in the year, and Notre Dame hadn't been tested really since the first game of the season when they beat Michigan. And to be honest, they really weren't tested against Syracuse either. They dominated that game.
Yeah, Notre Dame really made their statement that they belong in the top 4 in the nation. A lot of people still question their schedule and that they haven't beaten anybody, but they can only play who on the schedule. I'm not a big Notre Dame fan, but hey, if it was my team, Notre Dame deserves to be there.
Definitely.
West Virginia was upset by Oklahoma State. That was one of the games that was that really could make some waves out there in that conference. 45-41, and which sets up a really big game this week.
Not surprised at all about it. I really like Oklahoma State's ability to score points, but most of the teams in the Big 12 can score points, and most of them lack defense. West Virginia is no exception. So I'm not surprised at all that Oklahoma State was able to pull the upset. They almost pulled the upset against Oklahoma the week before.
There's no doubt West Virginia hadn't been able to stop anybody. They've just been outscoring most people, and sooner or later that come back to bite you. We're going to look at some of the scores from last week. You have some? Or you want me to run them down? Number 21, Mississippi State was 52-6 over Arkansas. Florida, 63-10 over Idaho. Of course, Alabama rolled over the Citadel, but it was tied at the half, 10-10.
10-10.
As the triple option gave the Tide fits, but the Tide did wake up and roll in the second half. Northwestern 24-14 over Miami.
Northwestern.
Oh, Minnesota.
I would say
Minnesota.
has clinched the Big 10 West.
Yes, that is a surprise.
That's a surprise.
That is a surprise. And they're playing really good defense out there right now.
Yeah.
Ohio State, then what was a squeaker? 52-51 over Maryland. What's going on with the Buckeyes?
I don't know. I don't know if it's lack of talent or, just a different personnel. They lost their linebacker coach and their secondary coach, here in the last 2 seasons, and their replacements haven't been as good. Again, it could be personnel. You can't replace a Raekwon McMillan easily, or, all the corners and safeties that they sent to the NFL. It's hard to replace those guys. But something is going on. Something has to change.
Whatever it is at Ohio State, this is not the Ohio State we know. And the next couple of weeks is going to really tell where the Buckeye season is going to go and what Urban Meyer, his future, is going to hold.
As bad as it looks for them right now, if they win this week, they will be in the Big Ten championship game.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not out the picture by any stretch.
Not at all.
Kentucky was 34-23 over Memphis. Penn State was 20-7 over Rutgers. Utah 30-7 over Colorado. Utah State in a close game, 29-24 over Colorado State. Notre Dame, as we said earlier, 36-3 dominated Syracuse at Yankee Stadium. Boston College was down by Florida State 22-21. It might have saved their coach job for another year. Michigan was 31-21 over Indiana. Georgia blew past UMass 66-27. Clemson crushed Duke 35-6. Washington, the Huskies beat Oregon State 42-23. And Oklahoma outlasted Kansas 55-40. LSU cooked Rice 42-10. Central Florida beat Cincinnati 38-13. Texas beat number 15. Texas beat number 16 Iowa State 24-10. Washington State crushed Arizona 69-28, which is setting up the big showdown this week with Washington and Washington State.
The only real surprise I had from last week, as far as the score you just called out, was Oklahoma gave up 40 points to Kansas. Like, how do you do that? How do you give up 40 points to Kansas? I don't understand. But, you know, Oklahoma's defense has been terrible all season. This is why they fired the defensive coordinator. I still haven't seen any improvements. But, you know, they still have a chance. They still have an outside chance at getting into the playoff. If things fall the right way, they can still get in.
Right. Anyway, well, we'll look ahead to rivalry week this week. And like we said before earlier, as we celebrate Thanksgiving and thankful, I'm very thankful for the people that put the schedule together, that we have a smorgasbord of rivalry games that we can chow down on.
Absolute feast.
After we eat leftover turkey and ham and dressings on Saturday, we can chow down on these games and pick out a few, and we'll sit back and relax and just watch football all day.
Definitely.
The big game you're looking for this weekend.
Washington and Washington State. It's got to be the biggest game of the weekend as far as rivalries go, because the winner wins the Pac-12 North and will go to the Pac-12 championship game. If Washington State wins, they still have a chance to make it into the Final Four. If Washington wins, that eliminates the Pac-12 from the picture altogether.
Big rivalry. Washington State, 3-point favorite at home against Washington. Who do you like and why?
I like Washington, simply because I don't believe in Washington State as a real pressure team. I mean, they've been flying under the radar all year, and they won the game that they were supposed to win, true enough. But Washington has been in that spot for the last 3 or 4 seasons, and they're used to that pressure. The coaches have been in that spot. They're used to it. So I got to take Washington in a pressure situation. But I wouldn't be surprised if Washington State wins. I just feel like Washington get them in a close game.
Like Washington State at home in a close game. I think it'll be tough. Both teams know each other in and out. I like Washington State at home. Mississippi State versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss Rebels are 10-point underdog.
Gotta like Michigan State in this game. And I like Ole Miss offense. Their quarterback, I can't even think his name. Quarterback is real good. Receivers are real good. But that's it. Defense is shaky at best. And their offensive line, their running game is not really up to par. Whereas Mississippi State's defense has a lot of NFL talent, especially in their front four. And Nick Fitzgerald has seemed to figure it out to some extent. You know, whatever they were struggling with early in the season, I guess, more quarterback runs or more RPOs or whatever. But they've been playing a lot better as of late. So I got to go with Mississippi State in this game.
I like Mississippi State. Their defense is solid. And like you said, the offense has seemed to finally figure out what they do best. The coaches and along with Nick Fitzgerald. And so I like the Bulldogs to win this one. Oklahoma, 2-point favorite over West Virginia. This should be a good one. Look for another shootout.
Definitely going to be a shootout because neither team plays defense. But if I had to pick a winner, I got to go with Kyler Murray because he's going to be the best player on the field. No disrespect to Will Grier. Will Grier might end up being, the best NFL-ready type quarterback as far as those two, but Kyler Murray is the best football player on this field. So I got to go with Oklahoma.
can't wait to watch this one. There's 2 Heisman Trophy candidates in action at quarterback on both teams. It will be exciting, and I think that whoever has the ball last will probably win. Georgia Southern checking out our local team. Georgia Southern is a 12-point favorite at Georgia State. The Eagles really need this win to enhance their bowl chances.
I like Southern in this game. I mean, what's the new coach's name? Lunsford?
Chad Lunsford.
Chad Lunsford. Lunsford has really got them turned around as far as where they were last season, up until the point he took over. And they've really been playing outstanding. They won a lot of games when they probably should have put up a better fight against Louisiana Monroe. But coming from where they were last season to this season, you have to say it was a successful season. I mean, you pretty much blew out App State and was one game away from winning your conference, really, if we're going to be honest about it. They were really one game away from, winning their division and going to the conference championship. So,
yeah, this is a state championships for Georgia Southern as far as bragging rights.
Definitely.
And the lower division, what we call the lesser of the two, between
Group of 5.
The Group of 5 instead of the Power 5. But Georgia Southern, Georgia State, this is a real rivalry, and it crosses all sports, not just.
Yes.
It's really big down here, and it's really big in Atlanta. Who's the real GSU?
The real GSU.
And look for the Eagles to get some payback from last year. Georgia Southern rose with the triple option. Michigan is a 4.5 point underdog at Ohio State. Big game. No, the Michigan is a 4.5 point favorite at Ohio State.
I thought that might have been
at Ohio State, but that is going to be good.
I got to take Michigan because nothing I've seen from Ohio State lately says that they have a chance to beat Michigan. The defense is not very good. The offense is pretty good, but Michigan has the #1 defense in the country, and they have had the #1 defense in the country for the last 3 years. And every time they play Ohio State, it's a close game, mostly low scoring because of Michigan's defense. So I just feel like this is the year for Jim Harbaugh to finally get the Ohio State monkey off his back and get a win in this game.
Now, the truth of the matter is Michigan can beat anybody on the schedule, but it always comes down to Ohio State.
Always.
And Ohio State has had their number recently. Urban Meyer has got the best of Jim Harbaugh. I would not be surprised if he does it again. Urban Meyer lives for these type games. He will have a good plan for the Michigan when they come in there. I look for Ohio State to upset Michigan and to turn this upside down.
Interesting. That takes the Big Ten out of it, right?
It don't matter.
It much eliminates the Big Ten from the college playoff.
Michigan. We just did that. Georgia Tech. 17-point underdogs between the hedges in Athens, Georgia. Paul Johnson and his crew have won 4 or 5 in a row. They're coming into this game playing solid, but they had barely got away with a win at Virginia last week, 30-27 at home. Now they travel to Athens to try to take down the Dogs. They did win the last time they was in Athens 2 years ago, but that was then, and this is now. In Kirby Smart's first year, they upset Georgia there. Last year, of course, Georgia killed them, beat them pretty bad in Atlanta, but that was last year. What do you like? Who do you like?
Of course I like Georgia. My only concern at all is linebacker Monty Rice is going to be out for this game because he was injured last week in warm-ups. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was injured. So my only concern would be, is he going to be healthy for the SEC championship game next week? Other than that, this game itself, not really too concerned. I just hope we get everybody through the game healthy because, Georgia Tech loves to cut block, and they can really take a toll on those big defensive linemen, their legs and all that good stuff. But I don't really see this being much of a close game. Even though Georgia's run defense hasn't been the best this season, it's a lot easier when the team can only do one thing. So now you can crowd the box, you can blitz pretty much on every play because you don't have much of a threat to pass the ball. And you can man up your best corner on their best receiver And I feel confident in DeAndre Baker one-on-one with anybody in the country. So I don't look for the Georgia Tech to do much or make much noise in this game.
I'm going to take a different approach to that because, first of all, the triple option is hard to defend when you have veteran players. Mm-hmm. Georgia has a lot of young players who've never seen this triple option. Last season, the Bulldog players had played against it 3 years, most of them. They were very familiar with defending Georgia Tech's scheme. A lot of these guys here, while they are playing better as the season went on, they have never seen this triple option. I look for at least the first half to be very close, with Tech controlling it on the ground, getting first downs. But Georgia going to score against Tech's defense pretty easy. But I expect Georgia Tech to control the ball, possess the ball, keep Georgia offense off the field, and at least take it to the third quarter before Georgia pulls away.
So you like Tech with them 17?
No, 17 may not be enough. That is not a lot of points for the Georgia offense.
I was just wondering. You sounded real concerned.
No, I'm telling you,
like they may win the game or something.
You got to be careful with Georgia Tech now.
A
couple turnovers here and there, because you don't get the ball long. If they keep the chain moving, do not be surprised. You see what the Citadel did with a lot less talent than they have. So I will not be surprised if this closer than the expert think.
The only difference in that is, though, Alabama doesn't prepare for the triple option, whereas Georgia doesn't prepare just for Georgia Tech. They practice for the triple option every week.
They do
whole season. Like they have a whole special period.
I don't care
option.
If you've never seen it, and like I'm telling you, I don't care how much you practice it. If you don't have anybody on your staff that can run it, it doesn't matter, because it's not like a high school offense. When they come to game speed, you just can't simulate what Georgia Tech does, and you can't really cut block like they do, or somebody's gonna get hurt in practice.
Got a point.
So you can't really do that either. Okay, so Florida, amount of 6.5 at Florida State. Big rivalry. Gators, Seminoles. A lot of recruits gonna be in Tallahassee for this one. It's big for recruiting in the state of Florida.
Definitely.
Both teams need it.
This is a tough one because Florida, for the most part, their defense has been great, like the whole season. But their offense has been so up and down, it's hard to really pick them. And then Florida State whole team has been up and down. Like they just came off a big win against Boston College, but now you got Florida coming in. I got to go with Florida. I just feel like Felipe Franks and the rest of those, leaders of that Florida team just would not allow them to lose to this kind of Florida State team. I mean, it's a big rivalry game, so the records don't mean nothing. Everybody knows everybody. It's going to be hostile. It's going to be violent. But I got to go with Florida. I just feel like Florida's a better overall team.
I don't know. I think something about senior day. Florida State seniors will stand up and not go out bad. The Gators, Florida State in the upset. Okay. LSU is 3-point favorite at Texas A&M. That should be a good one.
I like A&M in the upset because as good as LSU defense is, Texas A&M puts so much pressure on you because they have weapons everywhere and they spread you out so thin. And even though, LSU does have a great secondary, what happens if one person is out of place? Or what happens when Greedy Williams got to come out of the game to catch a breather or something? You know what I mean? That's all it takes is for one play and you gone 80 yards. And Texas A&M really has the talent to do that. And they can run the ball on pretty much anybody with a massive offensive line that they have. So I look for Texas A&M to win in a close game, late fourth quarter game. I just look for them to come up with a big play in the fourth quarter to win the game.
I wouldn't be shocked if A&M win. I love the way they play at home at Kyle Field. The 12th man is a real thing. It is an advantage playing there. But LSU defense, I think, will get a couple turnovers, and that will be the difference. I think LSU pulls it out with a couple turnovers, and A&M won't be able to stop the run. Texas, -14 at Kansas. I think the Longhorns take care of that.
Yeah, not much to talk about.
Auburn 24-point underdog at Alabama. I don't know if this ain't one of the biggest time underdogs Auburn has been in recent years that I can remember. The point spread. We already know Alabama's favorite to win, but will they cover the point spread? Or will they be looking ahead to Georgia? Because they have, as they say, bigger fish to fry.
I like Alabama to win. I don't think they'll be looking ahead to Georgia either, though, because it's such a big rivalry game. But I don't think them 24 good. I like Auburn getting 24 points because Auburn got a great defense too. So I don't think the game will get, that far out of hand. But I don't know. I look for Auburn to keep it closer than 24 points. I don't know what Gus Malzahn has, planned, but I'm pretty sure that defense is going to come to play. Just like LSU's defense, just like Mississippi State's defense. If they offense can get anything going at all, then they're going to be within them 24 points.
I'm wondering about Auburn defense. They have underachieved this season. With all the talent they have underachieved, even though they have shown flashes of being just great. And there's talent everywhere across the board on that defense. Mm-hmm. There's no excuse for some of the points they give up. But with that being said, Alabama, I think they were looking ahead last week at Citadel. They overlooked Citadel looking ahead to Auburn. So I think the Tide will roll at home and take care of things on senior day. Notre Dame at USC. Notre Dame is an 18-point favorite at USC. Ooh. And this game has playoff implications as well.
It only has playoff implications if Notre Dame loses. Okay. USC is out of it.
Of
USC
course.
is completely done.
Right.
They have nothing to play for except being spoiler. So
Notre Dame has to win it.
I look for Notre Dame to win. I don't know if they're going to cover the 18 points. That's a lot of points. But Notre Dame is just better than USC. USC is not that good.
Notre Dame is better than USC, but the travel from where they got to go all the way out to the West Coast,
South Indiana.
I tell you, I don't know. It's something about traveling out there on the West Coast and playing out there. Time zone change and everything.
You do know they play every year, right?
They playing every year, but they out there every year. They out there this year.
I like Notre Dame.
I wouldn't be surprised if USC pull off the upset, but Notre Dame should take it, and that should do it for this week. We don't look for a whole lot of upsets. We're just going to enjoy our turkey and shout out on the smorgasburger games, and go Eagles and go Dogs.
I don't talk to them boys that sat on them benches for. I was in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. Put me in the game on 4 inches. Coach put me in the game on 4 inches. And I'm